Is a prenup a deal breaker for you in a relationship? Could you wrap your head around it if your partner said something like they wanted a prenup before they married you? It's important that when you feel so strongly about something as a prenup, that you talk about it with your significant other prior to being married. Because a lot of times things like this don't come up until the day before the wedding or very close to the time you're going to walk down the aisle. And if this is something you're very sensitive about or it's a deal breaker for you, this could destroy all your plans. The first thing to understand is if it's a deal breaker for you, what's underneath that? Why do you feel badly? Does it blare in your face that your partner doesn't trust you? Does it make you judge your partner in a way that's not favorable? Maybe you're thinking the possessions or the material wealth is more important than what the two of you are creating together. Write those things down. Those are very important. And not only writing them down, but finding a time to talk with your partner about it is really significant. I work with prenups a lot. I work with clients that are getting them. I work with lawyers, especially one who is really very good at them and very knowledgeable about how to walk you through it. But the most important part of a prenup is how the both of the partners feel about it, because it's not so much signing that legal document that matters. It's like marriage. Are you going to work toward it to make it so that it's not something that comes between you, but rather something that nourishes you and helps you be closer to each other? I want to go through the pros and the cons of getting a prenup because they're important. The first thing is the pros of it is it allows you, the spouses, to preserve family ties or any inheritance they had. This is especially important in a second marriage. It's important financial matters are addressed way before the wedding. This is really important stuff to talk about. The other pro is if your future spouse is unwilling to sign a prenup, it's a really good time to find out early, and that's another reason you want to talk about it. If you have children from a previous marriage, you can protect their well-being, and a prenup will help you do that. Any personal business assets accumulated prior to getting married can be protected. This is especially true if you've been burned in the past and you just feel like a prenup is going to give you a little assurance. I get it, and I do think it's important in that situation. A prenup puts financial cards on the table. It's transparent. It's all part of when I say I want you to be transparent with each other. A prenup is. Spouses are able to agree, and which asserts that they give their children or family members of any family members in the event of death. They know what's going to happen, and it reduces or eliminates battles over assets if something terrible does happen to the marriage. And I think that's where most partners have a hard time. They many times may believe that it's a precursor, that the partner they're marrying doesn't trust them. Has nothing to do with that so much as if you've been burnt in the past, really hurt, and really taken advantage of, you would be wise to consider a prenup in your next marriage. But considering a prenup and forcing it down your partner's throat is not okay. And this is going to be part of the cons of a prenup. If there was a failure to disclose assets, or if there's sufficient evidence of fraud, duress, or a lack of representation when the agreement was signed, it is possible for the prenup to be set aside. In other words, it might not be viable. It might create some tension and resentment in the relationship. And once again, that's why you want to bring it up early. One spouse might feel that the other does not trust him, and I alluded to that earlier. It might make it appear that though there is a lack of faith in the potential longevity of the marriage, and I also brought that up. I'm saying it, I'm bringing it up because it's an important point to talk about, and I really hope that this video is encouraging you to do that. I think when you're talking about this, what's most important is that both parties agree. If one party does not agree, then it's important that in your pre-marriage counseling or in your discussion together with a therapist, that you work through that. This is possible to work through, and I have helped many clients work through it. I believe when you lift the idea of the legal document, it can actually help you be closer and more assured that when and if a crisis happens, you are prepared, at least legally, and anyone else you have the potential or the liability of taking care of is going to be protected. And at that point, if the partnership is okay and they agree, finding a lawyer you both trust, not one from your past, not one you worked with a long time ago and they don't know your partner, but finding a lawyer together so both parties' wishes and desires for the marriage are protected. I think that's going to really be so helpful in helping you get through this.